see, when you hear of all this inflation and you're seeing the prices of petrol going up and all these prices and all these financial changes, it only really affects you when you're living within your lower self, within the enemy. Because everything is targeted, you're basically manipulated to lower yourself to that energy, and then you're bombarded with a whole bunch of distractions to keep you in that energy. So really and truly, there's not a money issue, there's not a shortage, there's not a shortage of nothing. Everything is in abundance. But you see, when you're trapped in that mentality and you believe that, then that will become your reality. That's why it says that the devil will deceive the world. So if you're believing that for yourself and you are trapped in that mentality, as they're bringing the inflation down and they're bringing all the prices up and everything starts to change and get worse, you're going to be affected by it. Whoever's in that energy will be affected by it. And it's too late then to try and do the work then, because you're just going to end up in a crisis. You're just going to end up in turmoil, and you're going to need help because you haven't built a solid foundation. You haven't been living in that way. Like you've been living in greed, lusting, and living off more things than you need. So now you've deceived yourself into thinking that you need all this stuff, and really and truly you just need a small little amount of stuff to get through the day. Really and truly, we don't need all the stuff that we think we need when we're in the lower self. But you see, when you're caught in that energy, and when the crisis hits and everything gets worse and famine comes and things are becoming less, like they're doing already with the prices, it's basically they're targeting you. They're targeting the people who's trapped in that energy. All the people who's running around working jobs, working mad amount of hours to uphold this inflation, this so-called inflation, which is not real. They're creating it. So you waste more time. So you spend more time at work. So you're more stressed. So you are going home to your family with a negative, low energy, and you're projecting that all in the house, and you're stressing about money, and you're worried about when that you might lose your job and when the next paycheck's going to come. All this insecurity you're bringing home every day. Or if you're by yourself, you're living within that insecurity within yourself. So you can't see a light, you can't see a way out, because they've invaded your mind. They've tapped into your mind, you see. And this is how it is, by perpetuating fear. That's not real. That's why I'm saying it's all a movie set. It's not real. There's nothing behind the set. This is the Wizard of Oz. You hear the big voice, and when you get there and get into the palace, you take back the blanket or the thing, and you realize it's just a little old man talking into a machine, amplifying his voice. A little weak old man. That's what the system is. It's an illusion. It's not real. And it's only when you push and start to fight you start to see. So all this stuff that's coming, all this tribulation that's coming to the earth, you've chosen it. You've chosen the tribulation. And that's why judgment is upon anyone who hasn't chosen God, who has chosen the physical realm. You could have been reading scriptures, you could have been in church, you could have been with your brothers, you could have been practicing certain religious things, but if you weren't tapping in, and if you weren't really sincerely talking from your heart, tapping into your heart, tapping into your truth, all your efforts were in vain. Yeah, you gained something from that, but if you wasn't in truth, if it wasn't coming from a sincere place, if you weren't taking risks, if you weren't putting yourself out there, if you weren't standing up in the room and having your own opinion that was against the rest, if you was just agreeing all the way up until this point now, you are under judgment, because you never put your soul first, you never put God first. You see? And that's why this tribulation is hitting the earth. And yes, it's going to get worse. The lands are going to become desolate. Especially, remember, this is an island that we live on. Here in the UK. We think that we're in because we've been tricked and manipulated. Great Britain, we think they're this big nation, and they've gone around, really, they just went around teething, invading land. And they didn't even invade. What they done, they went in and manipulated and done the same thing they're doing now. lying to the people, pretending that they're of God when they're not, pretending they're of truth. They don't come around with brute force and force nothing. They don't do that. It's manipulation, it's lies, it's chipping away after years and years. It's weakening you, making you forget who you are, then stepping in or waiting for you to, when you're not in unity and you're going against each other, then pitting you against each other. You see? That's always been the method. Pit two people against each other or pit a group against each other, step in, order out of chaos. They will create their order out of the chaos that they've created. You see? So I'm telling you, all this stuff, all this tribulation that's coming on the earth, yes, it is going to affect you if you stay in that vibration, because you can't just jump out of a vibration. Even if you're listening to this video right now and you've stated you can't just jump out of it, you have to go through the judgment, you have to go through the tribulation, you have to go through what I went through, and all the rest of the chosen ones and the remnant, because we ain't just been sitting here doing nothing for the past 5-10 years. We've been getting ready, preparing ourselves for this time, and we've been telling everyone and warning everyone. Everyone's been looking at us like we're mad, and that's why you're under judgment, because you haven't been listening to the children of God that was given the message, your brothers and sisters. We're called the rebellious ones because we go against the status quo. We rebel against the physical realm. But really and truly, you lot are the rebellious ones, because you lot are rebelling against the Heavenly Mother and Father. We're here executing thy will with truth. Yet no one's perfect. But like I said, it's about following that voice. Okay? So just know, any tribulations that's come, you've chosen it. It's only going to affect you when you're in that vibration. There's going to be a set of people that won't be affected by them tribulations, that won't be in famine, that will have abundance because they've chosen it. And there's going to be a set of people that is going to be in tribulation, that is going to be going through lack. That's why it's called the great and terrible day. It's two worlds that we're living in simultaneously. And you've made your choice. You can choose to be a god or a slave. But the time is here. And you can still make your choice now. It's never too late. Peace out.